lost. I don't really care about
At least
football right
in
now.
mine,
Oh, you lost.
and they're not pushing now.
Okay, good. I'm glad. Hey,
You doing all right?
Great.
I don't know if you got a notice of that or not, but Platt College was purchased.
no, I didn't see it.
I'm enjoying it.
And Cora, several things. And Cora Education,
Yeah,
that's what it
I've
says.
been, yeah, I've been,
First Texas.
second, third, this is third week. And, but I have, new chief school, which is required by, OML, by state statute, so kind of like the newly elected officials in Boone. So it's a 40-hour school. The good news is I get 40-hour count for continuing education. Because this isn't only required 24 and I already answered. I'm rolling for, yeah. I'm doing good.
And I get a lot of mail.
It's,
I picked it up the other day.
it's a lot different.
You know, there's not as much as there used to be, thankfully.
I don't have,
But we still get those big hand catalogs and all that in the building.
like my boss and I.
That's amazing.
And I only have
How much
one
stuff I get from
boss.
the Church of Scientology upstairs. That's just
Yeah,
really weird to
totally
me.
different
It's like, why did they say
from
that to me?
And I go to work, I'm, you know, I feel good, you know, getting hard work done, there's a lot to be done, but and it's a fun, it really has been. I mean, I go home in a good mood, I'm not like, I'm all stressed out from listening to people that feel like their primary function is to yell and scream about everything. Yeah, I mean, we're getting along.
Did you call the roll, please?
They did ask me to, they did say that.
Present.
Jason Blair,
Here.
Scott Singer,
Here.
Terry Kavner, David Roberts,
Here.
Mark M.,
Here.
Glenn Lewis.
Here. Would you stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have a proclamation here declaring October 5th through the 11th, 2014 as Fire Prevention Week. And this is a long proclamation. It says, whereas the city of Moore, Oklahoma is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting Moore, and whereas fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are at the greatest risk from fire. Home fires killed more than 2,300 people in the United States in 2012, according to the National Fire Prevention Association. Fire departments in the United States respond to 365,000 home fires, and whereas working smoke alarms cut the risk of dying in reported home fires in half, and 3 out of 5 home fire deaths result from fires in properties without working smoke alarms, and in 1/5 of all homes with smoke alarms were working, and whereas when smoke alarms should have operated but did not do so, it was usually because batteries were missing, disconnected, or dead. More residents should install smoke alarms in every sleeping room, outside each separate sleeping area, and on every level of the home. And whereas more residents should install smoke alarms and alert devices that meet the needs of people who are deaf or hard of hearing or practice a home fire escape plan to be more prepared and therefore are more likely to survive a fire. And whereas more first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection, education, residents' responsiveness to public education measures are able to take personal steps to increase their safety from fire especially in their homes. And now therefore, I, Glenn Lewis, Mayor of the City of Moore, do hereby proclaim October 5th through the 11th, 2014 as Fire Prevention Week in the City of Moore, Oklahoma, and urge all citizens to test their smoke alarms every month and to support the Moore Fire and Emergency Services and the public safety activities during Fire Prevention Week 2014. Thank you, Mayor. Thanks, appreciate it. And we do appreciate all of our firefighters and first responders. You guys do a great job. Item number 2 is the consent docket. Item A is receive and approve the minutes of the regular city council meeting held September 15, 2014. Item B, receive the minutes of the regular park board meeting held July 1st, 2014 and August 5th, 2014. Item C, accept a 20-foot public utility easement in the southwest corner of Section 22, Township 10 North, Range 3 West, located north of Southwest 19th and west of Max Morgan Boulevard to serve the Royal Rock Addition, Section 6. Item D is accept a public utility easement located in the southwest quarter of Section 22, Township 10 North, Range 3 West, being north of Southwest 19th and east of Eagle Drive to serve the 35th West Addition. Item E, accept a public utility easement located in the southeast quarter of Section 30, Township 10 North, Range 2 West, being north of Southeast 34th Street and east of Sunny Lane to serve Moore Public Schools. Item F, accept a public utility easement located in the northeast quarter of Section 31, Township 10 North, Range 2 West, being south of Southeast 34th and east of Sunny Lane to serve the Moore Public Schools. Item G, approve and ratify claims and expenditures for FY 2014-2015 in the amount of $4,352,172.87.
Move to approve.
All right, thank you.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Would you call for the vote on the consent docket?
Robert Kraus.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Scott Singer.
Yes.
David Roberts.
Yes.
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 3 is consider approval of an audit report for the year ended June 30th, 2014.
Mayor and Council, the year-end financial reports are complete and the audit has been issued. The audit opinion this year is unqualified, which is also known as a clean audit opinion. It's the level we strive for every year. The reports that were issued look like this. This is the financial audit. The smaller one is the single audit, which includes all federal dollars that the city was awarded. And then the last one is a short report. It's a management letter. And the title is Communication with Those Charged with Governance. It discusses the audit process, any findings, anything of note. I want to thank Mr. Dillon with Dillon & Associates for the work their firm does relating to the audit. And I'd like to turn it over to him now, and he can discuss the reports with you.
Mayor and Council, as Jim stated, we recently finished our audit of the June 30, 2014 financial statements, and it was a clean opinion. We didn't have any findings. The records are in very good shape. If you'd like, I'll hit a couple of highlights in the audit itself. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, and I'll try and answer any questions you might have. If you go to page 4, if you have the audit reports, there's a management discussion and analysis section which summarizes in the narrative the results from the audit. And there's just a couple of items I'd like to point out since they were, the magnitude of the change was kind of high. The sales and use tax for the city increased by about 15% from the prior year. And a lot of that's due to new construction, just recovery from the tornado. And then your carryover on the general fund was about 15% also of your total expenditures. So your carryover is about $4.7 million. As far as, if you go back to 67, there's a whole section on statistical data that kind of gives you a 10-year history of the town, of the city itself, which is very interesting because you've had significant growth over the last 10 years, both in population, in school attendance, and income per citizen. But if you go to page 67, it shows the new construction for the year. And the change from the prior year, your total new construction, residential and commercial, was about $159 million, and the prior year was $75 million. That's quite a change, really. Any questions I can answer related to the audit?
So we're doing good.
Doing good. It's probably kind of a tough year.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
many
that's an
respects,
understatement.
But yeah, things look very good. And I do want to thank Jim and his staff. They always have the records in great order so that it makes our job much easier to go through the records, and it's just laid out so that we can kind of just walk through it instead of try to reconstruct data, which is pretty tough sometimes. But
Okay. Anybody else? Appreciate your work.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Make a motion that we approve the audit report.
All right. We have a
Second.
motion. We have a second. Any other discussion? If not, would you call for the vote?
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Scott Singer,
Yes.
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. I'd also like to thank Jim and the staff for all the work you guys do. Appreciate the job. Item number 4, consider approval of an agreement with Nyhart Company Incorporated in the amount of $7,625 for Gatsby 45 actuarial services.
Mayor and council, we brought this item to you for approval. We have 2 required actuarial reports each year. It's a part of the governmental accounting standards that go into our audit reports. One of the reasons we're able to get unqualified audit opinions is because we have these extra reports done that relate to it. So we're asking for your approval to hire this company. They've been with us, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, done a great job. And this price actually will get us 2 years of actuaries in this specific area. So I recommend you approve the contract.
Okay, thank you.
Make a motion to approve.
All right, thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? No, would you call for the vote?
Scott Singer,
Yes.
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 5 is consider approval of an agreement with Utility Rebate Consultants Incorporated to perform an audit on the city's electrical and natural gas bills for potential billing errors and resulting savings.
Mayor and council, this is something new for us. We've not done this before, but we thought it sounded like a good idea and wanted to present it to you. Utility Rebate Consultants is a company out of Tulsa, and what they do is they look at utility bills for other entities and try to find errors, billing errors. We've discussed this with this company, and it's in regards to electric bills and gas bills. So Gary Davis is here if you would like to discuss anything with him. He's with Utility Rebate Consultants. And the way this works is they go in and they audit these bills that the city has received. And if they find errors and if there's savings, then the savings is split between the city and the company. And there's no cost to us. If they don't find any savings, there's no cost to us. And there's actually no cost outlay because it would all come from the savings, any that's found. So we think it's a good idea and recommend you approve
We
it.
don't need to audit the water too.
We didn't offer that one up.
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve this agreement.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Jim, will they look at all of them or randomly some of them?
As I understand it, the plan is they go back 3 years because that's what's allowed by state law. They look at virtually all the bills for the past 3 years. Now, we don't have to produce those. They can contact OG&E and ONG and obtain those records. But for the past 3 years, they look at those and
All
see
of
if there's
the-
any errors.
All of the various bills that we as the city would pay to OG&E, I think OEC would be involved in this, as well as ONG. So any utility bill that we pay,
Yeah, that's considerable.
What kind of errors?
If they had the wrong rates, if they were charging us the wrong rates, kilowatt hours, just any possible errors in the billing that could happen. And we don't have access to their rate schedule, so we don't necessarily know if it's incorrect. Plus, we don't have the time or the staff to thoroughly review all those records. And that's what they do. That's what their company does.
Did they give you any idea of what they have found? What's their experience from other cities?
Well, Gary could come up and speak to this, but as I understand, they've looked at 1 month. We gave them 1 month of our bills. And they looked at those and they felt like it was worthwhile to go further. They didn't tell us any specifics, any numbers or anything, but they felt like it would be worth our while to look at the past 3 years.
Gary, would you come up and,
Yeah, I'm kind of curious what experience you have with OG&E in terms of getting those funds from them, or do they tend to fight with you about those type of numbers, or?
Well, when you look at 1 month set, of course, it's just a snapshot, but there's so many different meters involved, and there's a lot of different rates going on with each meter. So we want to go back, pull the old ones, and compare the rates for that type of usage for each meter. And that's where you can get into the inconsistencies. There's also fuel adjustment factors. Sometimes those vary. There's meter demand multipliers on each account. Now, a lot of those are the same, but there's some variances in there. But it's hard to put a number on it until we go back and pull the 3 years.
What usually accounts for those errors? Is OG&E just not, or the companies just not keep up with putting the right numbers in on their charges, or?
Well, there might be something in there 19 months ago, and it gets carried forward. Now, and a lot of it's, none of it's intentional. It's, but it's also, not only are there errors, there might be some rate changes going forward that would create savings down the road. And it's only after you receive the savings do you share those. So there's nothing up front.
I asked the same question you did, Robert, about OG&E and ONG, these utility companies desire to rebate money or anything like that. And Gary has assured me that they have a working relationship with these utilities, and they've been successful with many other entities.
Do they usually respond pretty quickly with getting money back if you can show that there are errors?
Yes, like Mr. You said, we have a day-to-day relationship with a lot of them. So especially OG&E and ONG. We do work in all states, but yes, typically we can contact. They know who they're talking to, and they'll, it depends on what it is and how much, and sometimes it comes back as a credit to the account rather than
Sure, that
actual
makes sense.
funds.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That's good. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Would you call for the vote if there's no other discussion on this item?
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Scott Singer,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 6 is consider the appointment of Mark Ham, Janie Milam, Mark Hastings, Kelly Maddox, Sheila Hayworth, Jeff Miles, Charles Thompson, Brent Wilbarger, Adam Webb, and Steve Buchanan to serve on an ad hoc committee to make recommendations regarding the old Santa Fe Depot and a possible City of Moore museum.
Mayor, I think most of you know that the subject of the depot and even a possible museum is something that's been kind of kicked around and discussed for quite some time. Councilman Ham has indicated to me and to you all, I think, that he's kind of willing to take the lead on this and get a group together. And as you can see, these are well-known names of people in our community that are interested in Old Town. And get this group together to look at some options and ultimately make a recommendation to the council about what we can do in this regard. There's any number of options out there for this, and it's something that we've needed to do for quite some time, and I think now's the time to do it.
I would agree, and I just share a few things with all the council members and the mayor, and why I think it's important that we move forward with this. And this isn't original with me. I think a lot of people in our community wanted to do this for a while. It's just never been pursued, and so I think we ought to just move forward with it. And, it's good to have a number of people together and just to brainstorm and come up with some great ideas as to what we can do and what it might possibly look like and where it might possibly go. It would be my hope that we're able to do this through private funds and not use any of the city budget to do a museum. We have streets and other infrastructure that money needs to be spent on versus a museum. But it's important that we just remember the past, and I don't know, 50 years from now, people could go there and could see what Moore was and what it has become. And we won't ever forget where we came from. And because we don't have that, I think of a traditional type of downtown as far as the old buildings that were built back in the 1900s, which just never had that, it would be really easy for us to just become swallowed up by Oklahoma City and Norman as the years go. But let's just remain unique and true to who we are, and those people that were here long before us would love to give some things to the city if they could be put on display. For example, I've heard that our first doctor in the community, his family would love to give the medical bag that their father had, and you can go around through your homes and take care of folks and put that on display in the museum. I had an opportunity to visit some of the other museums, went down to Pauls Valley and looked at their museum, which was really nice. There's just a quick little story. I had a tamale cart in there that a gentleman was looking for work and he couldn't find it, so he started making tamales and would put them in this cart, would go out to the city and sell them, and was quite successful at it. And everybody knew his name and knew who he was. And his family eventually donated that cart that he used to sell those tamales out of to the museum. And there it is today, and you can go look at it. To the people outside of Pauls Valley, it probably doesn't mean a lot. But to the people that live there, that's a part of their history, and a part of that community, and a part of who they are. And Moore has a lot of those stories to tell. And I just don't want those things to be lost to history. I always want us to be able to remember what Moore originally was and what it has become. So I think it'd be a very worthwhile endeavor, and we'd love to have the opportunities along with these others to be a part of making that happen. And if we have ideas, we'll bring them back to our council before we do anything and get input from this body as to how we should proceed.
Okay, thanks. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
All right, thank you.
Second that.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, would you call for the vote, please?
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Scott Singer,
Yes.
David Roberts,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. And thanks for putting that together.
And it'll keep me busy.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. All right. Item number 7 is consider approval of an engagement letter with Feller Snyder, attorneys at law for representation of the City of Moore in tort claims or potential lawsuits arising from the May 20th, 2013 tornado.
Mayor, this is just what it says, a contract or an engagement letter with this firm to represent us going forward should there be any litigation that comes up as a result of the tort claims that were filed. I don't think there's been anything filed yet, but if that happens, we believe that some outside counsel would be beneficial to us. And we've had numbers of discussions with this firm. Already, they are the firm that represented us in the lawsuit with Shaz Investments, yes, down south, and we were successful in that, at least at the district court level. So I believe that they're an excellent firm to work with. The one attorney, Blaine Nice, is a former city attorney of Norman that's now in this firm and has a significant knowledge of municipal law.
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'd make a motion to approve this engagement letter.
All right, thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
No, I was wondering, how are we billed for this? Or is this gonna be on a retainer basis, or will it be by the hour?
We don't have any law firms on retainer, so it's an hourly billing.
Randy's our attorney. Randy, you
Randy
okay with
handles
this?
all of our day-to-day stuff.
Sorry, Randy.
Do you like these guys? I mean,
Oh, yeah, that'll be a big help with the enormity of these claims,
okay.
potential.
All right, thanks. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion or questions? If not, let's call for the vote.
Robert Kraus,
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Scott Singer,
Yes.
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. Item number 8 is consider approval of a contract with Poe and Associates for design and engineering services for the I-35 hazard mitigation wall and implementation plan to be funded by CDBG-DR funds.
Mayor and Council, this contract with Poe and Associates is to provide aesthetic and engineering services for we're calling it a hazard mitigation wall along I-35 for the South Moore addition. It'll run from approximately 4th Street to 19th Street, or where the homes end, just before you get to the new Sam's Club. We don't have any preconceived notions of what this wall will be, except for it must withstand 135 mile per hour winds, which is effectively up to an F3 tornado, and it will be at a minimum 8 to 10 feet tall. The purpose of this wall really is to protect the neighborhood from a litany of hazards that might be along I-35, from blowing debris to perhaps excessive sound, noise, to cars that lose their way along the interstate and find themselves in the ditch, maybe towards the homes. The contract itself, I've sent you an updated version of the contract. The final price for the contract for phase 1 is proposed at $108,500. This cost will be for the preliminary drainage assessments that will be done at the location of the wall. There are at least 2 significant drainage concerns that we have that we don't want to make any worse on the residents' properties. It also includes an extensive public participation process when it comes to the design or the aesthetic look of the wall. Because this is going to be along I-35, we do have an acute sensitivity towards what this will look like to the traveling public. We want it to represent the city as it is. And so a large portion of the Phase 1 monies will be spent on coming up with or preparing different renderings of the thematic design, as well as getting into some specifics. It does include 3 public meetings, one with the homeowners in the Southmore edition, one's with the CDBG Advisory Committee that is open to the public, and then one with the City Council. And then we will be using the new Granicus citizen participation tool as a way to garner or get the more broad public input as to the design of the wall. We really are excited about this project. We think it's going to be a game changer, not only for the neighborhood that's never had any sort of barrier between them and the interstate, but also just as the city's image for the traveling public.
I actually read your note, and it said the 108,000 was first phase. There will be a higher cost than this.
Right. This is for the first phase. This is for basically determining what kind of wall we want to have. The design and the engineering of the wall has to take place after we figure out what we want. It's much like the community center, where we did spend some time figuring out the look and what all we wanted the community center to be. And then the second phase will come later with an additional cost that will be for the actual design and construction management of that.
How much is the total project estimated at, do you know?
Right now we have, I believe, $3 million allocated towards it. And projects like this, it's very customary for engineering to be a percentage of the total cost.
It usually runs about 12 to 15%.
Right. So I mean,
But the first phase is not included in that 12 to 15%, though, right?
We believe it is, yes.
Oh, okay.
So and we're thinking more around 10%. I mean, I would hate for it to go any more than that. I do have someone from Poe & Associates here, the project manager, if you'd like to speak with him about exactly what phase 1 versus phase 2 will cover. But I did want to make it very clear that there will be another cost after phase 1.
Phase 1 is the design and phase 2 is the build.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And will this all, is this going to be the federal dollars?
Yes,
Monies that
yes.
have been made available?
Correct, yes. None of this is being funded out of our general fund. This is all disaster recovery funding. And it is one of our hallmark projects that we have submitted to HUD, and they're very excited about it, to see a community being so proactive on resiliency and hazard mitigation.
Now, we're in the works. I don't know if this affects us or not, but we're waiting for an ODOT study that Norman and we are participating in with ODOT. And one of the proposals on that study was an actual service road up the side on that thing. And
well,
we haven't got that back yet. So are we jumping ahead of ourselves here?
I don't think so. We do have a timeline where we have to spend these funds or they go away. But we are constructing this wall on the property line. So no matter what comes, whether they add another lane along I-35 or maybe it is a service road, they can design that to fit within the parameters that we've created with the wall.
Okay. Well, it's just a preliminary study on what they're doing between, I guess, on Main Street all the way down past, mile past Indian Hills to Franklin.
And I just want, what time frame are we looking at? Do we approve this? And then
That's a great question. They actually do have a timeline that they've submitted, and it is on page, I don't know, this actually says page 5. But at any rate, they'll get the notice to proceed if this is approved tonight, and then they will have a survey that's complete in January. And they will have basically some conceptual architectural renderings to us by February of 2016. This is a very slow and deliberate process. Part of the reason is because we are dealing with ODOT and FHWA. And this company is very familiar with both of those processes. There's a lot of coordination with both of those entities that has to take place. But they will be moving forward, and we'll be getting some public meetings underway, and we're excited about it.
Glenn, to kind of help answer one of your questions, I was on the committee with them, and the original discussions from the architect, they were showing the walls maybe being like the fence line in the back of the properties, like right on the fence line, so that homeowner wouldn't even have to have a back fence, maybe. When they kind of, what your interpretation was?
Yeah, that's what we're hoping
So
for.
it was
Kind of like the
well.
one up on, north of the Capitol.
Yeah.
Okay.
I gotta tell you though, that some of the ideas they were coming up with were pretty neat looking. It didn't look like just a wall that was up that, I mean, it was some pretty neat stuff that I never thought
That'd
about
be good.
before, so. He spent some time in, I think it was Australia, I think, wasn't it? He
Yeah.
had some pictures of some walls. It was pretty neat stuff that they had. So,
I'm excited about it.
It is
It's
pretty-
a great
it
project.
is.
Well, I've heard that maybe some of the aesthetics on the wall, they talk about doing a picture of Randy Brink on there, is that? Just, I would not be in favor of that. Thank you.
He is the guy that keeps you out of jail on this board, you know.
I make a motion to
Never heard
approve the
anything.
contract. I make a motion to approve the contract.
All right, thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, let's get started. Call for the vote, please.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Scott Singer,
Yes.
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. At this time, we'll recess the city council meeting and convene the Moore Public Works Authority meeting. Item 9 is the consent docket. Item A is receive and approve the minutes of the regular Moore Public Works Authority meeting held September 15, 2014. Item B, ratify action of the city council on approval of audit report for year ended June 30th, 2014. Item C, approve and ratify claims and expenditures for FY 2014-2015 in the amount of $3,115,924.54.
Move to approve?
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second on the consent docket. Would you call for the vote, please?
Scott Singer,
Yes.
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. At this time, we'll recess the Moore Public Works Authority meeting and convene the Moore Risk Management meeting. Item 10 is the consent docket. Item A is receive and approve the minutes of the regular Moore Risk Management meeting held September 15, 2014. Item B, approve payment of a workers' compensation settlement in the amount of $8,882.50 to David Johnston for claim number 20500000299. Item C, approve and ratify claims and expenditures for 2014-2015 in the amount of $291,377.16.
Move to approve.
All right, thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Excuse me. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this? Everybody get their claims questions answered? Any notes or changes to the minutes? If not, would you call for the vote?
David Roberts,
Yes.
Mark Ham,
Yes.
Robert Kraus.
Yes.
Jason Blair,
Yes.
Scott Singer,
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, item carries. At this time, we'll recess the Moore Risk Management meeting and reconvene the City Council meeting. Item number 11 is new business. Item A is citizens forum for items not on the agenda. There is no one signed up. Would anyone like to speak? Okay. Item B, items from the city council or trustees.
I'd just like to say, the last year and a half has been pretty rough in the city of Moore for our emergency response workers, so thank you guys very much for all the good job that you guys do.
Yeah.
I can't imagine some of the things you guys have to respond to, so thank you guys.
And I would second that.
Absolutely. Item C is items from the city trust, or city manager, trust manager.
Just mention a couple of things, Mayor. One is also, as you all said, just commend our police department and the chief for the job they've done with the horrible thing that happened at Bond Foods and just the other things, the day-to-day activities going on. Done an outstanding job, outstanding leadership in the department. And Chief, you'll come up and introduce our officer here, but while you're coming up, just a couple more things. One is to announce to the public that the More Beautiful fall tree sale is Friday at the community center. This Friday, October 10th, starts at 7 a.m. So if you want some trees, come out there and get those. Also, I've had a question already from a member of the public who happens to be my wife about why are we digging little ditches in Telephone Road between 19th Street and 34th Street and then filling them back up with asphalt. What is going on there, for everybody's information, is that you all know that drive that road, it's got a pretty good bump every little bit, and that was because of the heat a few years ago. And what do they call that, Stan? Settling cracks in the subgrade. So they're cutting those out and cutting those deep out and refilling those with asphalt, and then that's one of the roadways that'll be completely overlaid when they get through with that process between 19th and 34th. So it'll be a new road when it's finished, but they're fixing those cracks over there.
So is your wife happy?
I haven't given her the explanation yet because it was by a text message, and I don't think she's watching, so we'll see.
Toughest critics.
Yeah, Jerry.
Yeah, thank you. This is Sergeant Trevor Troxel. He's been on the police department now for 6 years. Works the evening shift, 3 to midnight. Grew up here in Moore. Went Moore schools his whole life, including Plaza Towers, and graduated from Moore High School. After that, he worked at his father's business and went to Oklahoma State University in Oklahoma City, where he got his associate's degree in criminal justice. And then he came on with us about 6 years ago, and he's very steady and doing a really good job for us. Appreciate the work you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
One other thing, Mayor, I want to mention briefly, our own Elizabeth Jones received the Outstanding Alumni for the University of Oklahoma College of Architecture Regional City Planning Program for 2014-2015 back in about middle of September. So congratulations to her.
Good job.
Good job.
That's all.
All right. Item 12 is adjournment.
So moved.
All right. All right, thanks. Thank you both. Would you call for the vote, please?
Mark Ham.
Yes.
Robert Kraus.
Yes.
Jason Blair.
Yes.
Scott Singer.
Yes.
David Roberts.
Yes.
Glenn Lewis.
Yes, we're adjourned. Thank you for coming.
I looked through there. I couldn't see anything either. I could